Today's podcast is brought to you by the BetStamp app, which is helping thousands of people win at sports betting for free. The same way travelers use Google Flights or Expedia to find the best prices, bettors can now use BetStamp to do the same. When you place a bet, the odds given by a sportsbook will determine how much you could possibly win. Even when betting on the same outcome, different sportsbooks will offer varying payouts, and these differences can be huge. Thankfully, BetStamp allows you to easily line shop for the most profitable odds across all sportsbooks. You can click on any matchup and instantly see all the different odds for game lines, player props, and even futures bets. Line shopping is the simplest way to find an edge in sports betting long term. On average, BetStamp users win an extra $1,000 yearly just by line shopping. You can find the BetStamp app on the Apple iOS Store, Google Play Store, or through your browser at www.betstamp.app. To access all these benefits, sign up using promo code CinqBoys and start your journey to successful sports betting today. If you forget to use the code upon sign up, you can always enter our code in your BetStamp account settings afterwards. Check it out. What's going on, everybody? This is the CinqBoys podcast.
CinqBoys. All right, we're going to hop right into it. We got NFL news. We've been gone for a little bit. It's almost 2 weeks since the CinqBoys dropped their last pod. Whew. Saquon's back.
Saquon is back. Wow, I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happened almost immediately after our last podcast was posted. On the topic of running back news, Jim Irsay versus Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's not really happy with how the running back market's going, and neither are the rest of the running backs. So Austin Eckler organized a Zoom meeting for all the top running backs in the league. You know, mainly the top two guys holding out this year were going to be Saquon and Josh Jacobs. Immediately after the Zoom, Saquon bails on all the running backs. He's just like, you know what?
Go Giants.
Go Giants. Yeah, that's probably what he said at the end of the Zoom meeting. So Jim Irsay had a problem with how the running backs were meeting, and he was like, this is bad faith. You know, all the running backs, you know, we just had this CBA figured out. It's been taking years to get this done, and now the running backs are trying to mess everything up for everybody. And Jonathan Taylor's agent comes out, and he's like, you know, it's bad faith not paying your top offensive producers, you know. A couple days later, Jonathan Taylor requests a trade. Jim Irsay's like, yeah, we're not trading him now. We're not trading him in October, I guess, when the trade deadline is. Now Jonathan Taylor's like, you know what? I want $16 million a year. Is he holding out? I think he might be. Yeah, he's not reporting to camp.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And latest on this, 1 hour ago, actually 6 hours ago, according to Yahoo Sports, Colts signed veteran RB Kenyon Drake.
Let's go, dude.
Amid Jonathan Taylor trade request. You know what's interesting about Kenyon Drake? And you and me talked about it 100 times during the 1 week that we played the Ravens. Dude, he looked really good. Kenyon Drake.
Yeah,
high motor, really fast. Looked like he had good vision, hitting holes. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, that's why I just got excited when I heard that they signed him, because I'm on the Colts. I'm on the Colts. So.
They get a couple solid running backs in that system, and they just pound the football like the Eagles did last year, and they will get like 6-7 wins based off of that.
Do you need a running back? Is your guy injured? Is your guy holding out? Well, look no further than Kenyon Drake. He's always there. He's always available. And he's always willing to jump from franchise to franchise. I love it, dude. Good for that guy.
Who did he start with? I feel like he went from the Dolphins to the Ravens. Yeah. Oh, he was with the Raiders at some point, too.
Yeah. Did a good run there, too.
Maybe the Cardinals. Well, he is a suitcase. But always being the third or worse option on the Ravens, like behind Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, who are both injury machines. I'm just surprised Kenyon Drake didn't get more of a chance over there in Baltimore in a rushing heavy system. And the Colts are going to use him a lot.
Dude, another thing, I just had this thought for the first time. Like, with all this hoopla with the running back market and the value of the running back, it's insane to me that the Ravens have held on to this idea that J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards are the only guys that can do the job for that team. Like, what are we doing? Like, they're never on the field. Both of them, the past 2 seasons, have been out the majority of the season. And clearly they know how to run the ball because Kenyon Drake was fantastic last year.
It's kind of been the story of the Ravens' backfield since Lamar got there. It's just nobody can stay on the field.
Dude, I think everything that you said so far, I've wanted to dap you up.
All right, I love it. That's buzzing. Just so everybody watching and listening knows that's never how life is around here. Joe, let's kick off some news that we missed from the past 2 weeks of not podcasting.
Yeah. We ended up recording a whole 2.5-hour podcast and published it and everything, and then we realized that it was radio silence. So it was a pretty devastating moment at 4:30 in the morning. All right, so of course Aaron Rodgers is in the news, but I think we're used to him being in the news for all the wrong reasons. Calling somebody out, someone's family, some bullshit, money, whatever. Takes a $35 million pay cut, which even to the richest of the rich in the NFL circles, $35 million is no joke. And he did that so that they could improve the team. And he also, in the same breath, committed to 2 years with the team.
Yeah. Pretty honorable move by a guy that I thought had no honor.
Yeah.
Had no humility. The preseason game against the Browns the other day, they were harping on it, talking about Aaron Rodgers, maybe 30% of the broadcast. They even interviewed him. And they're like, you got this new aura about you, you seem like you're really happy. You seem like, in the past, maybe you weren't hanging out with the younger guys, but now you're really putting yourself right in the middle of all those younger guys. Well,
Damn.
I don't hate my organization anymore. I like this new one.
Yeah.
Also, everybody's putting their camera on, man. That's all I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
I'm going to these Rangers games, Yankees games, Knicks games. I'm going to the theater.
Yeah.
Who cares, dude? Who cares?
All right. You're getting upset about it, which is weird because you seemed like you were just giving him props. Which side are you on?
Oh, that was all sarcasm before. Fuck Aaron Rodgers.
I'm on the Jets.
I could be on the Jets and still not like the guy, bro.
Also, I think Zach Wilson is going to be all right, man. Dude is super talented. Dude seems super humbled. Dude understands that he's going to be playing the old sideline for the next 2 years. Wouldn't be surprised. Like, when you want to talk about raw quarterback, like athleticism and talent in the NFL, he's probably up there in terms of like the best backup quarterback in terms of potential. Like,
yeah. And that's
a
short list.
If you can harness it, it's worth something. See, I heard a little birdie say that they should try to, like, that some first round quarterbacks, their value eventually, when you figure out that they're not going to start for your organization, like Trey Lance and the 49ers, you got to try to get them as much value in the trade market as possible to salvage that pick fail. But I don't think the Jets should go in that direction with Zach Wilson. I don't think that they should trade him.
You think it's just straight mentorship?
Yeah, man. Wow. I think that they should. They should let it ride. They should see where it goes because guess what? This roster is like on the younger side of young and already good. So, developing a young quarterback now instead of drafting one when you have a sufferable season after Rodgers leaves is probably the better plan. It's a contingency plan that you accidentally put into place. It's good.
You know what I saw in the preseason game?
50-yard bomb.
I think that might have been one of his only like 2 completions.
He was 6 for 11 for 80 yards and a touchdown.
He looked bad. I don't think he looked good. I think he looked nonchalant. This is below me. These guys that I'm playing against aren't good. He didn't look like there was any sense of urgency. And there was even a play on like 3rd down where it's like, dude, after what happened to him getting benched and then them bringing in a new guy and like you're going to be like mentored and you're clearly not ready for this. You think he's like, oh, this is just the Hall of Fame game. He shouldn't be like that. I don't care if it's the Hall of Fame game. I don't care if it's a playoff game. You go out there and you try your best and you work as hard as you can. And he's treating it like it's not a big deal. And there was even one situation, easy, 3rd and 2. 2 linemen protecting him in front. He's sitting there, oblivious to the pressure. And he's like, oh, wait, I can scramble. I'm like 6 foot tall, really good athlete, fast, spins out of the pressure. He's like, oh, I just got to beat one guy. I can get like 20 yards on this. 3rd and 2. Turf monster gets him. Doesn't get the first down. So it's little tiny things like that where it's like, are you a gamer? Are you a player? No, you couldn't even friggin' perform really well in a Hall of Fame game. What was his total yards? 85. And he had a 50-plus yard bomb. So the most of his other completions were under 10 yards.
Dude, when I think that there's something to be said about understanding the situation. Like you're talking about urgency. They had like 6 training camp practices before that game. So, and there's all guys that he's probably never played with before. I can't believe I'm defending Zach Wilson this much, but this is where I am. Like at work, if you were to, like, you get told to do something and then you try so hard to get it, but in kind of like an insignificant situation, it's kind of unattractive. I don't know if that's like relative, but it's like, dude, I don't fucking care if you could do it now. I need you to do it when the pressure is on. So stop caring about this so much. I need you to fucking mentally get ready for that. I don't know, dude.
I don't think as a quarterback, caring too much is a thing.
But dude, it's like, if like, could you picture like Kirk Cousins caring about this game if he was in a backup role?
Yes. I think any backup, you're a backup. You haven't earned the right to be an NFL starter. So this are your reps. What is he going to play in the regular season, week 18 when they make the playoffs? What are you talking about? You're not going to play besides this. Why are you not going to try as hard as you can?
You're going to play the entire preseason. They still have 4 preseason games.
And show us just that, the same thing?
Probably not.
Okay, well,
I'm play with starters.
I will have my eyes glued to the television for that one.
Oh, wow. I'm excited, dude. Jets, Giants.
When is
Thank
that?
God. Oh, yeah, they play the preseason. Should we go?
No.
It needs his chair.
It's the best way to watch a football game.
Nah,
There's nowhere
TV's
close.
Definitely. You have to sprinkle in the live games, though.
Yeah, I don't like. I would really want to go to the actual Jets Giants regular season game. Like, I think that might be like historic, and like Aaron Rodgers only going to be around so long, and we don't know when the Jets are just going to fall off the face of the earth. So I think that game is a must see, and then another game where maybe we don't think we have the best chance, and we're playing a team that's like really, really good. And they're coming to MetLife, and it's like, oh, that'd be really, like, we're not playing Mahomes this year, but like seeing the 49ers would be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got really into that. Rodgers, preseason. Next, Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett. Sean Payton's like, yeah, he's trying to defend his quarterback, Russell Wilson. He's like, he's not washed. You know what? He just dealt with a lot of incompetence last year. He's not that bad. Nathaniel Hackett just sucks.
It's just unnecessary, dude.
I know.
It just never made sense to me from the beginning. I like how Nat Hackett responded though. Did you see that?
No.
Also, he has like facial hair now, and he's
Yes.
actually like a guy's guy.
He's got
I
a
thought he was
creepy goatee.
fucking, like soft, like
A belly button.
yeah, dude. That's it. That's actually what I thought he was, but he was just like, yeah, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like that was out of nowhere and uncalled for, and whatever. Like he was pretty down for the movement.
And Rogers immediately goes and defends his coach, and he's like, this is one of my favorite guys I've ever been around, one of the best coaches I've ever been around. And he pointed out that, Peyton could have been putting this kind of thought out there to be like, if we suck, this is one of those like soften the blow, soften the fall. And it's a really good point because Sean Payton doesn't know exactly what he's getting himself into. I've been listening to past podcasts during football season from last year, and going into the playoffs when cousin Sal already thought that the Cowboys were going to lose to the Bucks. He was like, we'll just get Sean Payton next year, we'll lose by 3 touchdowns to the 45-year-old Tom Brady. Sean Payton, I thought he was going to the Cowboys. I thought Brandon Staley was for sure getting fired and he was going to the Chargers. He ends up with the Broncos. And I think they're going to be good. I think we both think they're going to be good, but at the same time, like he knows what Russ is right now, and we don't.
I don't really know what Sean Payton's history with the media is because I feel like New Orleans was such a stable environment. You have your franchise quarterback there for the entire time that he's there, etc. But dude, he had to have known exactly what he was doing. He was throwing a loaf of bread to Aaron Rodgers, who represents like a pack of pigeons on a beach. There was no shot that this wasn't going to stir the pot. And Aaron Rodgers was fucking smiling the whole time. Like, here's another reason I
got a softball.
Exactly.
A meatball right over the middle of the plate.
All right. Dalvin Cook visits the Jets. What's the update on this?
Let's look it up.
I don't think that he signed.
No, he didn't sign. We would have heard about it.
I don't know, dude. My social media feeds have been off recently.
All right. Sports Not has one team. This might be clickbait. One team that Dalvin Cook wants to play for the most. I'm scrolling.
In New York. It says it right there. All right. So I guess it's just a contract now, which, of course, it's another running back. If this is true, it's another running back dealing with a contract situation. Dalvin Cook has rushed for over 1,000 yards for 4 straight seasons. With an offensive line in Minnesota that hasn't really been in the top half of the league in years. So good for him. I guess he's actually legit. But he's probably asking for too much money. Even though now they have it.
Oh, yeah. They have money, this man. For me as a pro athlete, like if I was a pro athlete, if I was an NFL player, I would be bugging if I didn't have a contract or on a team by at least training camp.
Choosing to start behind everybody else makes no fucking sense to me, dude. I'm obsessed with preparation sometimes, and it gives you such an ease of mind, and then you're able to make decisions quicker, and all this stuff just comes so much easier when you prepare.
You have less to worry about because you prepared so well. And Dalvin Cook's like, I'm seeing NBC Sports, Jets, Dalvin Cook could ramp up talks after the Hall of Fame game. It's like, all right, now you already have like a situation where, they have an extra preseason game, but they've already played together. It's not like Dalvin Cook is going to go and play in these preseason games, but just starting behind the 8 ball on purpose, he could have made this decision a while ago. If it's a matter of like a couple $1 million, it's like, I mean, who am I to say I would take $1 million and like any day of the week? I don't understand it because I'm like you. I would need to be there for all of training camp. When I played football, if I missed any practices, I would feel terrible. And
I think that's also part of the reason why maybe a Miles Sanders signed in Carolina for less than market value, or David Montgomery or Swift. Any of these guys that have new teams that sign for significantly less than what their value may have been. Just get in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Life isn't guaranteed, and neither is a contract in the NFL. So you fuck around with this too long, you end up shortening your career. It's the same thing we've been saying, dude. It's so frustrating. All right, Joe Burrow suffers non-contact calf strain, will miss all of training camp and likely the entire preseason. He's never had a full camp / preseason. So in his rookie year, he tore his ACL.
I believe so.
And then
his second year, he had
was COVID? Or COVID was the first year?
No, he definitely tore his ACL in like week 5 or 6 or something against like the Broncos in his rookie year. Second year came back. I don't totally remember. I know year 3 he had an appendectomy right before the season started, and he had a very slow start, but obviously they ended up right where everybody expected them. Calf strain this year. I thought it was very, very minor. He could miss multiple weeks per reports. Jamar Chase, I don't want him here in week 1 if he's not 100%. That's what Jamar Chase said.
Dude, you know who the Bengals are playing in week 1?
I feel like week 1 should be everybody plays somebody in their own division, but I know that that's not the case.
Year.
I know.
Who did we play last year?
The Titans.
Yikes, dude. Gotta go 0 for 5. Who do you think? I guess why would you be able to guess? I think the Bengals are playing, the Commanders in week 1. I'm on the Commanders, dude.
I know.
Week 1.
From what I saw, just eye test of
Bengals
Sam Howell, he
Rams.
seemed pretty capable, pretty competent. But that was a small sample size, filling in at the end of games and starting one game last year.
They're playing the Browns, and the spread right now is plus 1.5 on the side of the Browns, which means that Joe Burrow's probably not going to play.
And I like the Browns.
I like the Browns too.
I think. I mean, Burrow obviously not playing. Like the talent gap, like we don't even know. Yeah, I'm on the Browns 100%. The line could get as much as like Browns minus like 3 or 3.5 or minus 4.5. I think I would still take the Browns.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though if the same exact thing happens this year, where they start 2-2, 1-3, and then they finish 13-4.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just like, how did they do this? All right, Jalen Ramsey injures his knee at practice, has surgery. He's out a few months, and then after the surgery, he's like, tell me what the timeline is, and I'll beat it by a month. Seems to think that his body is different than the rest. Apparently, he actually does heal faster than other people. So,
example?
None.
I just think that that's such a funny quote to have out there.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, what a normies. Yeah, how fast do they heal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow past that number.
Competitive with everything, including healing. Miami signs Eli Apple to fill the void. I guess he might be creating a larger void with that one, but
yeah, everyone in the
Miami's
locker room
defense
already hates him.
Miami's defense is already pretty stacked, so Jalen Ramsey was more of the icing on the cake, but that icing is going to have to hold until after dessert. We're fucking buzzing right now, but
When's dessert?
I don't know. Probably week 3 or 4.
Jimmy Graham back with the Saints. He's been working out like a quote meathead and has been cycling hundreds of miles a week.
Do they have bicycles on a football field?
Yeah.
Oh my god, they do. For the guys that are on the bench.
Yeah,
Out of the field.
Active range of motion kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. Keep the body loose.
Yeah.
Super relevant, right? How old is this guy? 30, 37?
He's either 34, 35, 36, or 37.
When was the last time he was in the NFL?
I feel like he only sat out 1 year.
And effective.
He plays 8% of your snaps, all in the red zone, and he's 6'7".
What about Juwan Johnson? That dude's a body. Younger. Probably entering his prime.
Maybe a little tutelage from Graham.
Whatever that is, I'm on board, dude. That sounds great. What is it? Just tell me.
I'm pretty sure it's like teaching him.
Oh, well, Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson situation.
Yeah, we'll see. Probably Johnson will probably be way more successful
Then Zach Wilson.
Yes.
You want to make a bet right now? Who retires first? Who retires
A
first?
quarterback or a tight end?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Actually,
Fast.
Neither of us are going to remember this.
We're
not going to remember this. $10.
Because we're $10. Zach Wilson will retire after Juwan Johnson.
Okay, $10 for me the other way. Zach Wilson's he's
CinqBoys.
never going to succeed in the NFL. Brian Robinson, quote, night and day difference entering year 1 versus year 2. God forbid, knock on wood, that he doesn't get shot. But he should have a great season. Joe, as you said, high on the Commanders. Are they the Commanders, though?
Maybe. Maybe soon. Maybe not. Maybe soon they're not. Maybe they're going back to the Redskins. There's a petition with 15,000 signatures. That was as of last week. So maybe that number is much higher, but it seems like they're moving towards doing that. New ownership, trying to rebrand literally rebrand it into the Redskins. So I think the world would be very happy with that.
Yeah, I think we're way too close to the start of a season, though, for them to make a change like that. So they are the Commanders this year. What an interesting story it'll be telling our kids about the Commanders who survived 3 years. And the football team, of course.
Yeah. The football team was the bottom.
Yeah.
Commanders was a step in the right direction. But we all know that Goliath eventually murders David.
No, he doesn't. I hope they keep their black uniforms, though,
Dude,
regardless.
They're whites, too.
Yeah.
The all whites are nasty. I really like the Commanders.
Yikes. All right, I'll throw myself under the bus. I really like the Eagles uniforms. They're my least favorite team in the league, but the sickest uniforms, even their throwbacks, everything. I usually don't like green, but the shape of the numbers, the colors, it's sick.
Dak also likes the Cowboys.
Cole Kmet signs 4 years, $50 million. This is, I guess, what the tight end market is now.
Yeah.
He's average. So average.
And his career has been played with whoever was the quarterback of the Bears before Justin Fields got there, and Justin Fields. So the throwers of the ball, throwing it to him, have not been good, and he still manages to put up whatever numbers warranted this contract. And there's over 100 tight ends in the NFL. Most teams carry between 3 and 4 guys. Most of them are just, like an extra tackle on the end of the line. That's like the majority of their responsibilities within the organization. But over 100 tight ends in the NFL, and you can really only name 10 to 15 guys, and you're confident in saying that they are good, like, at one given time. Do you want to try to name 15?
15.
Tight ends.
Oh, we could easily do it. We just did 75 mock drafts.
All right, but I'm like, let's see how many we can name before we're like, this guy isn't actually that good.
Or just as good as Cole Kmet.
Okay. Kelsey, Waller, Hawkinson, Mark Andrews. That's the top tier, right?
Yep.
Evan Ingram, Pat Fryermuth,
Dallas Goddard,
Dallas Goddard, Dalton Schultz.
Mike Gesicki.
You fucking love it.
He's definitely better than Cole Kmet, though. Is he?
See,
I don't know.
Who cares, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like these guys are so middle of the pack. That's
All right, we have
9.
6. We need to get this.
We have
we
9.
have 6 to go.
Well,
Um,
Logan Thomas.
yeah, I like him. Gerald Everett,
Zach Ertz,
Zach Ertz,
Daniel Bellinger,
Tyler Higbee.
Tyler Conklin.
Should we go for 20?
Sure.
I mean, these are all kind of around where Cole Kmet's going to get drafted. Also,
Jelani Woods.
Also, Cole Kmet's probably going to get drafted before a couple of those guys because a lot of people are high on the Bears for some reason, and a lot of people think that the Bears are going to run away with this division. I don't get it.
Yeah, neither do I.
Justin Fields, yeah, I think either DJ Moore or Darnell Mooney came out in the media and was like, yeah, Justin Fields has such a good grip of the offense. He's just been running everything at camp. It's like,
all right.
All right.
So, like,
dude, there's just it's always going to be there's a connection between like the mental and how they process the game and then what they can physically actually do. And he hasn't been able to be accurate with his passing. I think career he's under 60%.
Yikes.
I'm
That's not going to get it done.
I'm looking it up.
All right. Are we good on that tight end conversation?
Yeah, I think we did a really good job of outlining how bad.
Kyle Pitts,
yeah.
Tommy Tremble.
I don't know who that
This is
is.
the Panthers.
Juwan
Johnson, my boy.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham.
Justin Fields is 59.7%.
Cameron Brate.
And he has 24 touchdowns and 21 picks in his career.
Thanks.
QBR of nothing for career, but
31?
last year was 31.
No, last year was 54.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, those numbers are fucking terrible. DJ's was a 95 last year.
Among top 5.
All right. Trayvon Diggs signs a new 5-year, $97 million deal. He is the front of the newspaper type guy, the headliner, the big play guy. But that's a two-way street. And Trayvon Diggs definitely operates both sides, letting guys fly right by him for big plays. But he's a star. He's I think he's been in the league 2 years, and he's been in the top 5 in picks both years. He's a stud. His brother's Stephon Diggs.
So the first thing I think of when I think of Trayvon Diggs now is his whole riverboat gambler identity, where he's going to go for the pick and get burned most of the time. And then that makes me think, okay, they got Stephon Gilmore. Iron sharpens iron. He's going up against CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. And, these aren't easy guys to cover every day in practice. Stephon Gilmore giving him pointers. Think more about iron sharpens iron. Dexter Lawrence and John Michael Schmitz. How good is our center going to be having to go against Dexter Lawrence every day?
To a John Michael Schmitz conversation.
I just think every day in practice, what goes very underrated and not a lot of people are talking about is these all-pro guys that are going up against their teammates, and it's like, well, there's no way I'm playing Dexter Lawrence every snap of every game. He's top 5 at his position. I will bully some of these guys. This guy's going to make me a lot better.
And the reactions, just on John Michael Schmitz real quick, the reactions that the media have given about people that know about the draft and the prospects are it seems impossible of an idea that John Michael Schmitz fell to the 57th overall pick because he probably is the best center prospect in the entire draft. And apparently the Giants run a lot of pin and pulls, which is when the guard pins down the nose tackle and then the center pulls around and leads the charge. And John Michael Schmitz is apparently super athletic. Dude looks like an absolute
5th grader.
Fifth grader.
Going to church.
Yeah. but apparently he knows how to murder people. So, all right. Speaking of the Giants O line, Andrew Thomas signs a 5-year, $117 million deal that takes effect in the 2026 season.
The Giants locked up a cornerstone player. I don't think they'll like that one. Dude, he's gonna be around for a while. I hope last year wasn't an anomaly. I hope
Why would you say that?
I hope he has a lot to teach Evan Neal. Iron sharpens iron. Play against
can we
play against Kayvon.
Say that again.
Play against Kayvon and Aziz on the every day. Just keep making our team better. I love you. I'm gonna get your jersey soon. All right,
dude. Are you serious about the Evan Neal concussion?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Don't say from hitting somebody.
The bubble helmets aren't foolproof, I guess. Everyone is wearing one except for the quarterbacks, which is hilarious. I bet Tua still wears this. Yikes. CTE jokes. Not funny. Evan Neal concussed, though. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a mega yikes. We needed him to kind of use this training camp and preseason to get himself ready for the season because we need him really, really, really badly. And we need him to take, that Andrew Thomas-esque jump. But
he's such a physical specimen too that it's like if we get him running the right way, working the right way, like the ends of our line is going to be so secure. Sack numbers are going to plummet.
Look at Joe Shane. He's just using first and second round picks on high quality linemen. Evan Neal obviously wasn't what we wanted him to be last year, but then he goes out. So now we have Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, and John Michael Schmitz. Dude, this is like the beginning of like us building, like the idea of it, us building an all-pro offensive line. I'm fucking buzzing right now. Next year we take 2 guards in the first 3 rounds. We're flying through the neutral zone.
I don't think we got to get full scope, kind of look at the Giants offseason and think about how great it's been. But think about every positional need, whatever it might have been. Everything besides like getting like a stud quarterback, we did. We got a solid running back. Like we already have Daniel Jones. We paid our quarterback. That's a big thing. I'm saying like in the draft or acquirings. We got a good running back that played at Texas, I think, for a bit and then transferred somewhere else. But he was a stud in college. We got the receiver of the year, Bolitnikoff winner last year, Jalen Hyatt.
How the fuck do you know that award name?
We got John Michael Schmitz, who is the top-rated center. We got him at a very, very great value for when we drafted him. We drafted a man-to-man physical cornerback that in the first round who could be really good with our cover 1, cover 0, blitzes kind of packages.
Yeah, the man-to-man on the outside is what you need when you're blitzing. I love it. I'm buzzing.
Who else? We got Okereke at the linebacker. We really need linebackers that can tackle and run stop. We got Dex back. Tackles. We signed AT, Dex,
DJ and Saquon. And Waller.
We might have gotten a draft steal in Trey Hawkins. He looks really good, everybody's saying.
Go, boys. 6th rounder.
We pick up Paris Campbell and Darren Waller for receiver threats. Like,
wait, can I say something about
Hawkins? I don't know how you can talk about the Giants offseason and not be like, where did they improve? Yeah, they re-signed their guys. You're not paying attention.
All those training camp clips of Hawkins making plays, he's super physical, like hands-on, and I'm like, the one clip that I can remember is him locking somebody up over the middle of the field, but he pulls at their horse collar right before he goes in to make the play. So I hope that it's not a situation where he just gets into the game, and then he's just penalties. And then what's going to get you off the field as a defensive back is fucking penalties.
Mm-hmm.
So
the game's already structured for the offense to succeed. If you're helping them out even more, especially in a day bowl system, you're not going to stay on the field too long. If you're not helping, you're hurting.
All right, Naheem Hines to miss the entire season after being hit by a jet ski. He was stationary. They were flying. Damn shame.
Yeah, nothing else you could say about that. It's a damn shame. The Bills are going to miss him, and probably on special teams, running back depth, but it's not like they took this massive blow. He had that 2 kick return game against I don't remember who it was against, but it was after the Damar Hamlin game. And then but going back to the Bills running back depth, they have Damian Harris and James Cook. They should be fine.
I like that you said Damian Harris first.
I
don't believe in James Cook.
Thank you. I have the same feeling.
Excellent. All right, Dak Prescott guarantees less than 10 picks in 2023.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, I after we went through those I think it was Colin Cowherd or someone made a point about how Matt Stafford in 2021 led the league in interceptions with 17 and then won the Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, all the top quarterbacks in the league were right behind him at 14, 15, 13, whatever it may be. Tom Brady. And then the same thing in 2022, where it's like we get on Josh Allen and we get on Dak Prescott for being at the top of the list in terms of interceptions. But it's like, why are the best quarterbacks at the top of the list for the interceptions? Because their offenses are high-powered down the field. You can't create explosive offensive big plays without throwing the ball down the field. The more time the ball's in the air, the more time the defense has to get there and make a play. So I think that this is pretty bold. After all that information that I kind of deciphered with those stats, it's like, you don't have to do that, dude. Win football games. No one fucking cares if you're throwing picks. If you're winning games, Burrow and Mahomes have been at the top of the list every year. Josh Allen, those teams win 12 games a year. Who cares?
More on the Cowboys thing, too, is that 2 different reports. First, Kellen Moore obviously leaving and going to the Chargers. His offense is more throw the ball down the field. The Cowboys, I believe it was either Mike McCarthy or Jerry Jones, was like, yeah, we're going to run the ball more because we need to rest our defense, because they're very, very strong on both sides of the ball. So maybe this year, also, I think Jerry Jones also said this playbook is going to be very, quote, Dak friendly. So if that insinuates that Dak is a volatile quarterback who's going to make a lot of problem plays, maybe he's going to fumble, maybe he's going to throw some picks, but he's going to throw the ball down the field and try to be a playmaker. I guess that means they're not throwing the ball down the field as much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you can't change a tiger's stripes, you know? And if Dak is a turnover machine, sometimes guys just stay like that. They could just keep Cooper rushing, you know?
Yikes.
Let's go Giants. Giants taking second in the NFC East. Let's go. We're ready for it. Let's go. I do.
Buzzing.
I believe in the Giants. Let's go.
All right. I saw, you see all the highlights coming out of training camp, guys making plays. The one highlight I've seen out of the Cowboys camp is Dak Prescott lightly pressured, throwing a deep ball down the left sideline to a 5'5" receiver who's already draped in double coverage, and it's easily picked off because not only is it in double coverage, but it's nowhere near the receiver and it's underthrown. So maybe he's just bad. Also, remember that pick 6 last year that he threw? I forget. I think it was against the Commanders. It was like they had already turned it over in the first quarter, and it set up the Commanders inside the red zone. And then the possession after that, the announcers are talking about Dak and how he needs to take care of the ball better. He throws an out route to the quarterback. He fucking takes it back to the house, and they're down 13-0. to the Sam Howell Commanders late in the season. Unreal, dude. That was also either right before or right after the Texans game, where they were down the whole game and they had to win on the last possession against the worst team in football.
There was that and the Jags game where they let up like 35 points and they still barely won, I think.
Yeah.
In overtime. Or maybe they lost in overtime. I'm not sure.
They lost.
But to wrap up Cowboys and Dak, Trayvon Diggs, who we just talked about, picks off Dak and tells him to shut his bitch ass up.
Let's go.
And like basically destroys him. Like, you're not my leader kind of vibe. Like, nobody believes in you. You're the reason that we get held back from winning anything kind of vibe. Like, they've both been there for a while. That's not something you say to a guy you, one, respect, two, really like as your teammate and like want, like believe in. Telltale sign. The belief in Dak is shaky right now in Dallas. And I mean, Trayvon Diggs responds with like, he's our leader. It's like, doesn't sound like it, buddy. I would just listen to Micah Parsons in that locker room.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
All right. Panthers head coach Frank Reich names Bryce Young as the week 1 start. Okay, dude. All right, so we were discussing. We found this podcast, the Bootleg Podcast or Bootleg Football Podcast, and there's one reason why they are much, much different than the rest of the media that's out there. A lot of guys focus on fantasy football. A lot of guys focus on deep analytics and kind of jump from team to team. These guys have a series where they spend over an hour on each team and then over an hour after that on the entire division. And it's super in-depth. And I listened to the Colts one, and now I'm on the Colts because of Anthony Richardson and what they said. But that led me to looking at the player props. And if you go to on FanDuel, bear with me, passing props. What do you think? So what do you think Bryce Young is projected for passing yards this year?
Let's go 3,000.
3,200.
Wow.
3,200, dude. So that's like 200 yards a game, which doesn't seem like that crazy.
Guys like Kenny Pickett and Daniel Jones for most of the season were averaging like 170.
And yeah, that's a good point. And the Panthers offense is nothing to write home about. I mean, Miles Sanders was a good signing.
They got Thielen.
Jonathan Mingo, the rookie.
Who's their tight end they just brought in?
Tremble.
I think Hayden Hurst is there too.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But it's there's not a lot there. And for a team that was bad last year and like, dude, I don't understand it. Bryce Young is barely 6 feet tall. What do you think about CJ Stroud? So CJ Stroud is apparently competing with Davis Mills to be the starter. D'Amico Ryans has not decided who's going to be the starter. That's absolutely fucking crazy.
Texans CJ Stroud taking all first-team reps in Houston training camp yesterday.
Excellent. Nice. What do you think his over-under is?
It's probably lower.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 2,700.
3,075. What do you think Daniel Jones is?
Here comes the disrespect.
Yeah.
Because I know it's coming, I'm going to go 3,800.
3,200. Like, dude, I don't get it. I don't get how, like, you can look at what the Giants have going on and look at what the Panthers have going on and say these two quarterbacks are going to have the same season. I don't understand it, dude. What do you think about touchdowns?
I think we looked at DJ's was 17 last year. I mean, this year's going to be 17 and a half, I think. All
CJ Stroud's is 17 and a half. Bryce Young's is 19 and a half. I don't get it. I understand they're first and second overall picks, but these franchises are in the fucking gutter. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Do they show that much promise? Do you think?
I don't see it. I didn't see it in their college tape. I don't see it. I think that Anthony Richardson has 10 times more potential, even for this season, as those guys.
So I finally figured out college conferences. I finally understand. The SEC actually plays good teams, and the teams that are at the top of that division are really good. Namely, Alabama, I think
Clemson.
LSU, Clemson's ACC.
Yuck.
Well,
they play those teams.
And new teams are now funneling into this SEC, like these are the best schools in the country. Other conferences like the Big Ten, like Ohio State's like the only good team from the Big Ten. So that's why guys are like, oh, this guy played at Ohio State, like really good team, really good program, but they didn't play the best competition. That's why quarterbacks from Ohio State, it's like they've never panned out because they don't play good teams. It's like them and Michigan. That's it.
So I guess that's where the Bryce Young played at Alabama against these great defenses in the SEC.
And, he was undersized and he still looked good, but at the same time, like, you're not working with a lot here. You have talent, yeah, but it's going to be really tough. And that's like, I look at that as like just disrespect to Daniel Jones. They're being optimistic about these rookie guys, and they're just like, you know what? As much as we're going to downplay his passing yards, let's like, is there Daniel Jones rushing total or prediction?
I know on DraftKings there is. I think it's 575 or 700. It's one of those.
So he had just over 700 yards last year. I think he had 7 rushing
I
touchdowns.
think they're going to try to protect him more and throw the football.
Me too.
Of course,
And
we agree.
And not so much like deep balls or like 20 yards, but like intermediate. Like, let's go 12, 15. Get first downs, 3rd and 10s. We could pass and get those. Daniel Jones rushing over is 575. Joe fucking nailed it on the head.
They don't have his rushing TDs. I think FanDuel has it at 4.5. I would take that over too. I just feel like inside the 3, it's either going to be Saquon or DJ or some type of like finicky type play.
They're compensating because he's a dual threat quarterback, but like, what is his potential all purpose? Like 5.5 and 28
What are you talking about?
total passing and rushing.
Oh, touchdowns.
No, 5.5 thousand.
Nah, dude, stop.
What? He can't pass for 5,000 yards?
Yards? Dude, that'd be quite a jump. He'd probably be top 2 or 3 in the MVP conversation.
I think he's really good.
Oh my god. All right.
5.5 is admittedly really high.
I'll take that version of Jack every day of the week.
5.5, we'll go 4.7 total.
I think
that's 4 and 7 or 3.9 and 8.
I think that's achievable.
And 28 total.
And dude, the thing about these numbers is that if you were to break down and look at the average per game, it's like, so 800 yards would be Daniel Jones rushing for 50 yards every game. Between the scrambles and the designed runs, dude, he was like, when last year, between the bootlegs and him scrambling, he was like you can bet on him getting 10 to 15 yards a couple times in a game on a run play. So,
and he's the old, straight line speed. I don't know how to stop. Sometimes I'll take a hit that I don't need to because I'm such a gamer.
I think that people get surprised when they go to hit him, though, at how big he is, though.
Oh, he's a body.
6'5".
I just, you want to protect the right shoulder, elbow, right hand, protect your head, protect your legs. You can cut off your fucking left arm. I don't care. But protect that throwing arm.
Like, when you get into like the secondary when you're running the ball, like those guys are smaller. Those guys are smaller than him most of the time. And if you're getting tackled by a linebacker or a lineman, they're behind you. It's different. It's not a direct impact. So I don't know. We're on the DJ train, but let's move on. This is like a little smaller, but Burrow, Chase, Higgins, and Mixon all haven't been paid, but the Bengals decide to elevate Trey Hendrickson's contract from $5 million more in 2024 and then $18.6 million in 2025. So, dude, I don't get why they would go out of their way to restructure Trey Hendrickson's contract, not to make it less money, but to make it more money before paying these absolute powerhouse players on the offensive side.
Do you think that's it's a wrap for Higgins in Cincy?
Oh, why they would do that?
No, but like him. Just think about T. Higgins. How he wants to be portrayed. He wants more touches. Probably he wants to get paid. It's like, oh, they just paid Trey. I'm out. No,
I'm not.
I mean, it's hard to think about whether guys value winning or money.
Maybe they just don't pay a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball. They probably have separate budgets.
They're also Cincinnati, and they probably have one of the lowest payrolls in the league.
Yeah. I don't know. We just thought that was weird, so we figured we'd mention it. Kadarius Toney has surgery on his knee. Of course, he gets hurt in training camp. Not even in the preseason. He gets hurt in training camp. We are not surprised. We've been through this before. And he might be ready for week 1.
I used to be like, hey, like whatever, like don't be mean to Kadarius kind of thing. Like it doesn't matter, you know. He wasn't going to work out with the Giants. It's all circumstance. No, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
He's worthless piece of crap.
Wow, too far.
He works. He's probably played like 12 NFL games in 3 years.
And you're. I don't know if you went off the deep end.
I hate him. Guy shaves his eyebrows. 90% of his life, he's wearing a ski mask. I hate him. All right.
Yeah, you knew that was too far and you dug deeper. All right. Zach Martin, Nick Bosa, Chris Jones all holding out, and Josh Jacobs did not sign his franchise tag. Cowboys need Zach Martin. It's as plain and simple as that. They have stars on the offensive side that all want to get paid, but they need Zach Martin. He got the 99 overall rating from Madden this year, which I didn't think he was that good, but they need him.
Apparently he's the best in the business. The Niners need Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Not as badly as the Chiefs need Chris Jones or the Cowboys need Zach Martin, but they still need him. He is top tier at his position. His sack numbers have been around the top every year, you know, right up there with his brother and with the Watt brothers and Micah Parsons. He's right in that echelon of great. Oh my God. That is so bad.
Yikes. I'm embarrassed. He's right up there in the great echelon of great pass rushers.
And, you know, my point in saying all this is that the Niners will go on a couple games without Nick Bosa, and they'll be the 49ers. But I don't think the Chiefs have nearly the impact defensively without their stud and defensive captain, Chris Jones. That's assault, brother. That's so rough. Hey, oh, it's still wafting a little bit.
All right. And then the whole Josh Jacobs saga is still going on. A lot of people think the Raiders are going to be friggin' brutal this year, but they still have a talented roster. I mean, there were some games last year that they should have won, and maybe some games that they shouldn't have won, but they did. Jimmy G's a game manager. They got weapons on that offense. They should be able to figure it out a couple games, you know. But they need Josh Jacobs, that's for sure. That dude's a powerhouse.
We talked about it in our AFC West preview. It made no sense to me to bring in a guy like Jimmy G. The rest of your team is nowhere close to complete. Why are you going for a top 3 quarterback in free agency when the rest of your team isn't good? Yes, the quarterback is the most important position, but it's more like the last box you want to check off the list before you become like a contender or even like a playoff contender. It's like, well, we have Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams. Our defense is around the worst in the league. We don't have a good offensive line. We've missed on our last couple first round picks.
Alex Leatherwood?
But
dude, he's gone.
We got to bring in Jimmy G. This guy's going to be a difference maker. He's going to, he's a winner. It wasn't the 49ers. It was him and his injuries. He was bringing wins to the franchise. Yeah.
Dumb.
It just makes no sense to me. Why would you go out of your way to spend that kind of money? I mean, we'll see if he's ready. But they just didn't need that. They needed to take a couple steps back. Not one step back, a couple. Yeah. And they're like, no. We're going all in. We got James Jim, the G. James Jim and the G. James, Jimothy. Can I call you Jim?
You crush your wife during sex.
All right, Baker Mayfield. I don't really want to talk about this. With little to no chance, Baker becomes Tampa Bay's franchise quarterback. Is Baker being good hurt their future? That made no grammatical sense.
Is Baker being good hurt their future?
Does Baker being good hurt their future?
All right. You win this.
I'm the English major here.
Yikes. Yeah, I think it does. They should be. The rest of their roster is pretty loaded. The question is, if Baker is bad, or if he wins even like 2 or 3 games in the first 8, are they going to look to offload their assets at the deadline and get picks? Because this team with this quarterback situation between Baker and Kyle Trask, like, talk about a more irrelevant quarterback battle in training camp. No one cares, and everybody knows this team is going to be bad. I think it hurts them if he's good.
Me too. They have a real chance at Caleb Williams here.
Yeah.
Some of the other really bad teams in the league they don't have a great chance, actually, because the rest of their division is also terrible. So that's like the Caleb Williams.
Dude, have you looked at the Saints' schedule?
Yeah, they're probably really easy. And what factors into
it's
that?
Worse than that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something really quick about the 49ers. Dude, I talked about this on the last pod. I think I did a rant to you the other day. The Niners not being, like, I don't know if they are fully 100% in on Brock Purdy. There's no reason not to be. The guy's got it all. He's got it all except for Trey Lance's size. That's literally, and his arm strength. That's it. Sam Darnold getting this free press, like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Kyle Shanahan's offense is perfect for quarterbacks. Jimmy G succeeded over there.
You're really low on Jimmy G. Guy's done nothing to you but give you happiness.
But to me, pumping Sam Darnold's tires and saying, Trey Lance, we're not going to give up on him. I understand that, but the Sam Darnold tire pump makes no sense to me. Brock Purdy is your guy. The IQ, the mobility, the pocket presence, makes the right throw, makes the right play, poise, has athletic ability, and be able to roam outside the pocket, throw on the run. The rest of the offense is tailored for a guy like this. You don't need guys that can throw 60-yard bombs. You need guys that are going to be on time, throwing the ball, getting it to Debo 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage. Get it to Kittle over the middle. Let him run a couple guys over. Get it to Ayuk over the middle of the field. Get it to McCaffrey anywhere on the field. I just commit to Purdy. He's a great player. And because he got hurt on the first or second drive of the NFC Championship in a game that everybody thought was going to be a blowout, and then it became a blowout. So it's like, oh, Brock Purdy never had a chance. It's fucking bullshit, dude. Give my guy Brock a chance. The only thing I don't like about him is that he's number 13. 13 on a quarterback, not good, except for Kurt Warner.
Bro.
Yeah, I get it. 13 is a sick number in like every other sport. 13 as a quarterback, ugly.
I can't believe that's your take after everything you just said. All right. Just a little point about Jack said before that Brock Purdy tangent that the NFC South is bad. Me and him are high on the Falcons, are we not?
Yikes. You're way higher than I am.
Yeah, you're right. Whatever. So there's that. Apparently, according to FanDuel and Vegas, the Panthers are going to be good. Who else in that division? The Bucks. We know they're going to be bad. We talked about them. This is the Saints' schedule. I want you to strap in because this might be an 8-0 situation.
Sure.
Home against the Titans week 1. At the Panthers week 2. At the Packers week 3. Home against the Bucks. At the Patriots. At the Texans. Home against the Jags. At the Colts. Home against the Bears. At the Vikings. At the Falcons. Home against the Lions. Home against the Panthers. Home against the Giants. At the Rams, at the Bucks, home against the Falcons. Dude, there might be, I mean, I could just quickly run through it. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 playoff teams on their schedule. And those 3 playoff teams are the Jags, the Vikings, and the Giants. The 3 worst teams in the playoffs last year. The rest are teams that were good last year that now have the different quarterback, except for the Packers, or just teams that are bad. Dude, this might be a 16-0, 17-0 season. If they're buzzing,
we're not losing to the Saints.
Let's go Giants, baby. Yeah. All right, back on track. Let's talk about the Netflix documentary.
All right. You go first. Bring in some optimism, and then I'll settle it down with some.
Like it. All right. Well, I think that the guys that they picked, first of all, couldn't have played to their hands better because of Patrick Mahomes being one of them and him going all the way to the Super Bowl. That was the highest of high that you can get as a quarterback.
Home run.
So then most of the time when you need, like if you're building a story in a show, you need something on the other end of the spectrum to kind of bring that like contrast. So that's where Marcus Mariota and his situation comes in. And then add on the personalities of those guys. It just, feeds into that whole idea. Mahomes is this super confident leader, and Mariota kind of plays out as this like lacking confidence, kind of like sullen guy that not everything's going right for him. He gets benched. And then you have this guy in the middle who just exemplifies what you should be as a quarterback, which is you put everything into being a quarterback in your job, the fiery competitiveness, and then you also get he's a religious family man.
And then the toughness too.
Yeah, of course. So I think that the whole, like the personalities that they were able to capture and the show part of it, not just here's an inside look at the NFL, but the show without creating drama like maybe Hard Knocks tends to do, because I think that that's more of a reality show. This was more of a documentary. I think it was unbelievable, and I think that the world deserves to see a second season. I think Joe Burrow agreed to do it. I think that news came out for the second season. And then me and Jack, on the last podcast that we did that never got recorded, were kind of mixed in the whole, like, running backs are fighting for the world to be able to see their value what if the Netflix documentary were to also make a running back series where they kind of break down like a star running back, a middle of the pack running back, and a guy fighting for a roster spot. Like just go through and kind of get in the minds and the lives of running backs to showcase. Like I think it would benefit the running backs and the running back market if the world were able to kind of get on their side in terms of like Kirk Cousins getting absolutely destroyed. That guy only gets hit 5 to 10 times a game, and running backs get hit 20 times a game. So it's like, let's showcase the running backs. Maybe that would help their case. What do you got?
They had Peyton Manning on the McAfee show. Love to document 3 different types of quarterbacks again at 3 different points in their careers.
Perfect.
8-part first season details. Okay. And it was a nothing burger. It's tough. I love when you get like past like the meat parts of like, okay, I know this, I know this, I know this, and then it's like you scroll and then you get like the unpaid advertising. Like we're just gonna put like a bunch of fake links on the bottom. That'd be awesome if Joe Burrow did it, and the calf strain factoring into that.
I guess they're not doing it this year.
What do you mean?
Well, there's
What do you
only
mean?
2 weeks until the preseason starts, and that's
That's how they kind of do this stuff. Hard Knocks was only announced like a couple days before Jets training camp started.
Yeah, but they know it's coming. Like Hard Knocks has been around for a while, and they know it's going to happen every year.
Yeah, but like you don't know if this kind of thing with Peyton Manning and the quarterback documentary has been talked about with between a couple of players and how he's trying to figure like who he's going to get kind of thing. Like we don't know. Did any of us know that this documentary was being made before it came out? I didn't.
I didn't either.
So I think it would be really cool to cover like star quarterback coming back from an injury first couple weeks, and then obviously, I mean, the Bengals have all the potential to make it to the playoffs and at least win a game or two, even be a Super Bowl contender. See how Burrow responds from that. I would really like to see Josh Allen in the top role.
Daniel Jones.
I think Trevor Lawrence would be really cool as maybe like the mid-tier guy. Maybe Daniel Jones is the mid-tier guy.
Maybe one of the top 2 picks.
The bottom guy, Colin Cowherd and J Mac on the herd, obsessed with talking about Jordan Love, but I would love to see Jordan Love as the Marcus Mariota level kind of guy and just see how the Packers operate. But my take on the documentary, I was a little harsh. I was a little harsh on my first go around. Good thing nobody got to hear that. It was kind of like Hard Knocks on steroids, and Hard Knocks, like you said, totally tries to just paint like controversy and all these problems, and they're not really reporting on like they kind of do some like feel good stories, like guys that they like made the roster cut or whatnot. But I mean, it was really cool to see like, oh yeah, let's follow Patrick Mahomes back to his house. It's like you're never gonna get the full 100% genuine, like no cameras on us kind of like filming, but it's cool to see how they like interacted with family and friends, what they do on an off day, how Kirk recovers from getting murdered every game was really cool.
Dude, as much as we were ragging on Pat Mahomes' wife throughout the show because of her voice, she's good in front of cameras. Like it's not awkward for her.
Julie Cousins was rough. Marcus Mariota's wife is pretty chill.
I don't think that Julie Cousins was rough. I think that she's not like she's a visitor in the football world.
Yeah, she's not totally connected. It's almost like, it's not like I'm going to tell my husband, no, stop being a quarterback, but it's not like she's painting her face purple,
Yeah.
She's the opposite of that. It's almost like she's like, I'm a mom and my husband happens to be a NFL quarterback.
All right. What else we got? Do you want to do this stuff?
All right. some contract conversations get painted like they're very simplified and it's very targeted. This is what this guy's value is because of X, Y, and Z, and this is what his position gets paid. But then there's certain examples of guys being superstar talents and getting overpaid. I'm not saying CMC doesn't deserve his contract, but the Carolina Panthers had that money to spend, and they didn't want to let him go. And then they ended up trading him shortly after. Of course, before he went to the 49ers, he was an injury risk every year. Everybody was worried about
I
that.
hate that conversation.
I know.
I hate it because none of them were major injuries. It's not like he was tearing his ACL, his MCL. It was like broken arm stuff that you can.
It's like a
easily
hamstring
recover from.
strain or like a twisted ankle or
It's
something.
light work, and it's not stuff that lingered. It's not stuff that he down like okay, he missed weeks 3 through 6 with a hamstring injury, and then he missed 16 through 18 the rest of the season because he re-aggravated it. It's like it never came back. It's an injury-prone sport. It's grown men that are larger than all the other humans that are hitting each other all the time and cutting and like.
So the Panthers had that money to spend. Who are they going to pay their quarterback? Like they were shopping on the discount market for Sam Darnold, and before that, PJ Walker and Baker. So yeah, they had that money to spend. Patrick Mahomes getting paid $45 million per year, 450 total over 10 years in 2020. But now people are talking about, hey, this guy is underpaid for his value to the position, his value to the sport, how good he is. He's number one. Shouldn't he be number one most paid? Well, he was. He was for 2 years. And then guys started passing him. Or not rightfully so. I'm not out here saying Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. Well, Josh Allen doesn't. Should all be higher paid than Patrick Mahomes. That's not what I'm saying. But when somebody comes out and says Patrick Mahomes is underpaid, what are you going to do? Give him more money every year? Restructure his contract every year? You have to be the number one highest paid guy at the quarterback position in the league. That has to be the case. Pisses me off. This guy's underpaid. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes should be making $1 billion for how good he is at the quarterback position.
Dude, also the guys that for like when Russell Wilson signs that deal and Deshaun Watson signs that deal, those guys that actually surpassed Mahomes first, I think everyone on the planet understood that that was a bad deal. And I feel like that doesn't qualify. I would say the Herbert contract is legit, the Hurts and the Lamar. Outside of those guys, the other guys that are at the top above Mahomes, it's not necessarily warranted in the market. They were just like, beneficiaries of the market at that time. So there's that side of it. The other side of it is what a bargain the Giants got with Daniel Jones at $40 million AAV, only 80 guaranteed. This might be a guy that ascends into the top 8, 7, 6 quarterbacks in the league based off this season that he could have, if all goes well. So, if the Giants win 12 games this year and they win some games that people didn't think they should, and Daniel Jones exceeds all of his, expectations, this contract is going to look like an absolute gift. So
my only problem with the Daniel Jones contract is his cap hit at the end, which he might be just as highly paid, maybe overpaid. No, in 2026, the cap is going to go up even more. Guys are going to get paid more. He's making 21 this year, 45 next. The following year, less than 40. For 3 years, we're getting a quarterback under a very, very manageable number. And then year 4 in 2026, he's going to be making 56.5. Still, guys might be up there by then.
Dude, I don't get it. I thought that after 2 years, it was only going to be $19 million towards the cap.
No. But he's 81 guaranteed at signing. I think this deal is very if it doesn't go our way, if Daniel Jones doesn't pan out, which I think we both think he's going to work out and he's going to be a stud. Um
Dude, he has $35 million in incentives. How does that figure into all that shit? I don't know how that stuff works, man. And I'm looking at a diagram of how it's supposed to work, and I still don't understand it. Anyway, 40 AAV, no matter what, is going to be better than any deal that anybody could get at this point.
and one more thing. People saying the whole Saquon, DJ got overpaid. They couldn't give Saquon what he wanted, what he's worth. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. There's almost no other team in the same situation where it's like, well, we have a stud running back and a franchise quarterback to pay at the same time. I don't want to hear it. It's not directly relatable. And for all these other teams where it's like, oh, we could just dish out 52 and a half to Justin Herbert. Yeah, you have Austin Eckler. I think he's making $6 million this year.
Guy sucks.
You got Kirk Cousins. Dalvin Cook left because he wasn't going to get paid. Top quarterbacks in the league. Zeke just left. Tony Pollard just took. Zeke got kicked to the curb. Yeah, that was the last mistake GMs are going to make. Why can't I think of a good Lamar Jackson? They don't have a running back that they're going to pay. They've had a dual running back system in a while.
Call.
Was he? Yikes! Was that part of the ghetto Gronk meme with the two running backs looking at each other like, "Why are you here?"
All right. That's it for the news. Do you want to do this?
Yeah.
All right. So me and Jack, when we were on vacation in North Carolina, we were in a black hole of fantasy mock drafts. And we were able to, instead of just doing the mock drafts blindly and just hoping for the best and then forgetting the team that you drafted 7 drafts ago and all that shit that we go through every year, we decided to record all of the drafts that we did and then compare them and look at which guys to draft in which rounds, which positions to attack early, which ones you can sit on for a little bit. And we now know, I would say that we're borderline experts as to where you're going to find guys and where the value could be. So we just have a couple all right, are you going to draft this guy or are you going to draft this guy? Because there's certain guys that, like Christian Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, are kind of right. You might get the opportunity to draft one or the other, but you're not going to be able to draft both. So we're kind of this is a conversation of who should you draft? Which one do you want to start?
Let's kick it off with that one. We didn't do that one last time.
All right.
First thing I'm going to think of with Christian Watson. Sorry to cut you off.
Okay.
I don't think I've heard one thing about Romeo Doubs this year. Is he wide receiver too? Alan Lazard is back with he was with Rodgers and the Jets. What do? They have a new tight end. They have all young receiving core. They got a young quarterback. There's a lot of potential, but there's also a lot of question marks. Christian Watson, we found out, is a stud. His main factor, though, is his speed, his yards after catch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at the Packers as, maybe he's not the biggest catch radius guy, best route runner, but he's a hell of an athlete and he can turn small plays into big ones. But he doesn't really have much to contend with on his own team for targets.
I think that's where the majority of the value lies with him, is that he's going to get the volume targets, and we know that what he can do once he has the ball. He's also a really, really good down the field guy. So I think that there's a lot of value in that. And the same can kind of be said with DeAndre Hopkins, but in a different kind of world in terms of the style of play. Hopkins is not a burner, but catch radius is off the charts, and he has year after year after year, no matter who's his quarterback, been able to prove that you know you get him 12 targets a game, he's probably going to catch 10 of them, and he's going to be open and available the entire game, no matter who's covering him for the most part.
As long as he's not taking PEDs, stay on the field.
Yeah, he proved that last year when Trace McSorley and Colt McCoy were his quarterback at the end of the season. He was still able to garner, 9 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. So it's really who do you trust more in this situation? Because I think they're both capable. Do you trust Ryan Tannehill in the offense in Tennessee, or do you trust Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love? So, because I think both these guys are capable, and they're both going to get the number one targets on their team. The Titans have Traylon Burks as their number 2. I think Westbrook Etienne, yikes, is the number 3 over there still, but that guy has had ample opportunity in his career and he's never proven anything, so he's kind of irrelevant. But who would you take?
Oof. I think I will go with what I know. And I'll probably go Hopkins. Only because I know what Ryan Tannehill is, and God forbid he gets hurt, but I know he can be serviceable as a passer. And DeAndre Hopkins will do most of the work on those actual passes, getting the ball, catching the ball. I'm just still like a little apprehensive of what is Jordan Love. Can he get Christian Watson the ball?
Yeah. I think another thing I just kind of thought of was the Titans' maybe problem offensively was once they get into the red zone, if Derrick Henry's not scoring, they're not scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that DeAndre Hopkins kind of presents a red zone target they've never had before. So that is a plus for that side of it. But I think if it were to come down to it on draft day and I had to pick between these guys, I'm probably going to go with Watson. I don't know why. I think I was the first, like when DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Titans, all the memes came out of the Julio Jones, of the, who's the other receiver that went there at the end of their career?
Andre Johnson.
Yeah. So there's like the comparisons of older receivers going to the Titans and it not working out. Those guys both averaged like 400 yards when they went there and like 30 catches. I see it differently, but I spent so much time trying to convince other people of what DeAndre Hopkins is capable of that I kind of went through that emotional roller coaster where in former drafts, I would be so like, I'm so right about this. I'm so right about this. I have to pull the trigger on this if he's available. I reach for a guy that I just spent my time convincing other people of, and then it doesn't end up working out. I think I'm going to go Watson, dude. It's just like youth, opportunity, speed, down the field, which is the future of the game, young quarterback, elite offensive coach. I'm going to go with Watson, dude.
Yeah, they really, like I said with Romeo Dobbs, how I opened it up. I don't know any other guy that they're going to throw the ball to. Who do they trust? Who is Jordan Love targeting right now in practice?
I haven't seen any highlights coming out of there.
And they're struggling a little bit, but like between these two offenses, it's like you just lost Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what you're going to be in the passing game. Like where are they going to end up at the end of the season? Top 10? Probably not. But the same can be said for Tennessee. There's no way they make it in the top 10.
All right, next. What do you want?
You could pick.
All right. Saquon versus Austin Eckler.
Do you remember the fight we just got in with Sharif about this?
It's fresh on the brain.
So, Chargers just brought in Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore brought it up before. They go down the field. That's his plan. Herbert, one of the main talking point of all the big talking heads, the guys that really know what they're talking about, the ins and outs, the
X's and O's.
The X's and O's. Thank you. I was looking for that one. these guys that know what they're talking about are like, yeah, Justin Herbert, they didn't let him let it fly last year. They didn't let Justin cook. We'll see how that turns out, but them adding another receiver to an already awesome receiver core with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, Gerald Everett. I mean, them adding another receiver and them saying that they're going to go down the field more and let Justin cook a little bit sounds to me like Austin Eckler is getting less targets.
Yeah, so last year, Eckler had 107 catches,
127 targets,
which is 107 fantasy points. Yeah, and 127 targets.
Imagine if he was a good running back.
And yeah, the Chargers have never been able to figure out how to run the ball effectively. They only ran the ball 7 times in a playoff game that they're up 27 points. Probably because they felt more confident in Herbert's ability to complete passes than they did about Austin Eckler being able to get chunk yardage and keep the chains moving on the ground. So there's that part of it. The other part of it is Justin Herbert's depth of target is in the bottom third of the league. And Justin Herbert is in the top probably 5 ranked, I don't know, in terms of throwing the ball down the field. I know he has a 90 PF grade on passes more than 15 yards down the field. And when you have a guy like that and he's averaging 6 yards depth of target down the field, that seems like an easy thing for Kellen Moore to attack and kind of integrate into their offense. And that is his history, is doing that. So where does that leave Austin Eckler? Probably at least 50 less targets in terms of just if the roster was the same. And then you factor in the fact that they drafted Quentin Johnston. So now that's another target down the field. He's a big body, fast. It's another target down the field. I just don't see him getting the same type of opportunities. And then even then, he had 13 rushing touchdowns last year. He's probably not going to be the only option in the red zone this year. But if you score a touchdown from 25 yards out on a passing play to a guy like Mike Williams or Keenan Allen who can make plays contested, that eliminates touchdown opportunities for Eckler inside the 5. On to Saquon.
I think what I would want to say about Austin Eckler is he had 13 rushing touchdowns last year, 4.5 on the ground on average, 107 catches. That's pretty unbelievable. He could have done better in the rushing game, but that's going to be hard to replicate is my kind of thing. He was just as awesome the year before in fantasy, and he had 37 less catches, 37 less points. It's hard to believe he's been 6 years in the NFL, but he's a little bit better of a rusher than I thought. Him scoring 25 rushing touchdowns in the past 2 seasons, that number has to come down. Just law of averages. This guy's not friggin' Bo Jackson.
So I think he had 370 fantasy points last year. If we take away, let's just say 50 catches, with that, we'll probably take away, we'll say 250 yards. So what is that? That's 75 total points. Take away 5 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns. That's 8 times 6 is 48. So that's about 120 points that I am predicting will be lost in terms. So 250 fantasy points is a hell of a season, but at the same time, let's look at Saquon Barkley. Saquon, if he wasn't on a mission last year for him to get re-signed, you can bet your ass he's going to be on a mission this year. And with the plans that the Giants have in terms of integrating more, having less on the shoulders of Daniel Jones and Saquon to carry the load. How many carries did he have last year?
Almost 300.
So, and it was a career high. So he was able to produce 1,300 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, and then receiving He did have 57 catches on 76 targets for 350 and no receiving touchdowns. I just feel like Saquon Barkley as an athlete, as a runner of the football, and with him not being the 100% focal point of the defensive strategy, I feel like there will be more opportunities for him this year. I understand the Giants added Paris Campbell, Darren Waller, a multitude of receivers, and that's where the opportunity should be going. I believe that it's going to open up the field for Saquon Barkley, and he could have one of those insane seasons.
See, the insane seasons is kind of what I don't understand that people are talking about. He has 3 seasons where he went over 1,000 yards rushing. The only difference between his first year and his most recent season is receiving. He had 4 more receiving touchdowns, 50 more targets, 30 more catches, almost 400 more yards.
He had 91 catches, so he's capable of that. But see, it's all about targets, dude. It's the running back. You are not starting your route with a guy in your face. You don't have somebody man-to-man covering you that is the best defensive back on the other team. It's probably a linebacker.
And Saquon
against a linebacker, I'm taking Saquon every time.
Just look at 2022. Look at rank of target. Chargers versus Giants. They had better receivers, and he still had 50 more targets than Saquon. Saquon was we had late addition, Hodgins was pretty good, and beginning of the season, Sterling Shepard and Wan'Dale Robinson, and we had the tight ends play a little bit kind of well. Saquon was our offense. 50 less targets.
But it's also what do we know about the Giants last year is that they were so limited. Daniel Jones had, I think, the lowest depth of target in the league. Their entire offense was in this 20-yard box. So the explosive plays are just not there.
Remember we were complaining about Jason Garrett and the whole playbook is only 15 yards. Didn't change much.
Well, there was a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And Dable and Kafka were able to figure that part of it out. But I'm not necessarily going out of my way to say that you should take Saquon 2nd overall, 3rd overall. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that you're not losing value taking Saquon lower in the draft than reaching for Eckler because of what he did last year.
I think
things are going to be different in LA this year, and I think that you can, if you have the 2nd pick and you are able to trade down and take somebody like Saquon or even Derrick Henry. I just don't think Eckler is going to be that holy shit type player this year. That's really the point that I'm making.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the exact same spot. Eckler isn't the number 2, number 3 overall pick that he's slotted as today that he used to be. And just me, this might be hot take central. This isn't to get clicks, but dude, I'm taking Saquon over Austin Eckler. And
no way.
If I'm a top 5 pick, I'm probably not touching either of them.
Yep.
But I'm taking Saquon over Austin Eckler, 100%.
And for the record, Christian McCaffrey should be the undisputed number 1 back in fantasy. That guy...
He does both amazing.
He does both absolutely amazing. And even if you were to, as, the OC or Kyle Shanahan, even if you were to try to spread the ball around, McCaffrey will still... He is just so good at football. It doesn't matter if he has high volume or low volume. He's going to find a way to make an impact. And you want to talk about consistency, you're going to get it out of Christian McCaffrey. So I would say as a blue chip fantasy player, it would be McCaffrey, but
the rest of the running back.
We're not taking a running back in the first round.
Yeah.
It's the CinqBoys. All right.
Speaking of running backs, let's do one more. I like this
Rashad
one
Penny?
from last time. No.
Don't do it. I don't want to hear it.
What?
Which one is it? It better not be Alvin Kamara. That guy got suspended. Jamal Williams is going to be one of the best running.
You know, I was gonna say Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery in the Lions locker room, but I think we should close it out with the Eagles locker room, actually.
Okay.
The one you wanted to do. So the Eagles, they played the market. They picked up two guys that are very, very, very low value, but potential is.
No.
They didn't sign these guys for a lot of money.
Oh, I thought you mean monetary value. I thought you
Yeah.
meant like as a player.
No, having both of these guys as a dual threat in the backfield is awesome. Rashad Penny averages 6.1 yards per carry, 6.2 yards per carry in the last 2 seasons. Now, the problem with both of these guys is staying on the field.
Yeah.
They get injured a lot.
Especially
Whether
Penny.
it's a ticky tack or it's cramps or it's a concussion or it's a broken arm, broken leg. You know, these guys are very, very unlucky staying on the field. But both of them are exceptional at their strengths in the field.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift is an awesome receiving back. And Rashad Penny, like I just said, with the yards per carry, you don't see those numbers in the NFL. Saquon averages in his career 4.5. Last year was a 4.4. Rashad Penny was a 6.3 last year. If both these guys can stay on the field, split the backfield evenly, do really good at what they both do. God damn. Now, if you draft first, well, one of them is probably ranked like 150th, and the other one's like 85th.
It doesn't make sense to me. We know what I mean. Okay, so there's this side of it, which is that their OC Shane Steichen is now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. So there's that part of it. We don't know what their offense is going to look like, but I think that based off their personnel pretty much remaining the same outside of these two guys we're talking about, the OC that they have now would be out of his goddamn mind to not try to at least replicate partially what they were doing last year. I would say that they were heavy run, heavy quarterback run, and very good outside of the hashes to their two main receivers. And then Dallas Goedert was more of a safety blanket. But, dude, when they get in the red zone, it's somebody's running it into the end zone. And with these two guys have to complement each other perfectly. I don't know Rashad Penny's receiving like reputation, but it's you got a power back and you got a receiving back.
The thing about the Eagles backfield too is that like when Miles Sanders wasn't available, it's like, all right, Kenneth Gainwell, sure. Boston Scott, sure. Why not?
And those guys are still there, I think. I don't know about Boston Scott. But,
both.
Like Jack said, Rashad Penny, the yards per attempt is no joke. And that guy, when he is healthy, is one of the best running backs in the NFL. And behind this O-line, it's just like if Swift is there, which he has been for a bunch of drafts, but not all of them. People are definitely onto these two guys. People are reaching for these two guys in drafts. If Swift is there, I'm probably taking him, and he's going to be the first guy off my bench. And then if Penny is there, I'm going to reach for him too, probably.
Yeah, but Penny will be probably like 10th, maybe 9th round.
And I think that they'll finish around the same in terms of fantasy points. Swift will make up his lack of rushing with the PPR receptions, and then Penny will probably score more touchdowns being a goal line back. So if you can get both, I don't think that it's crazy to do so. I think that they can have games where Penny, this is all if he stays healthy, has 60, 70 yards and a touchdown or two, and Swift has 7 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Like, I think that they're going to put out the same output. I don't think that you're losing anything by letting one of them fall and taking the other one or whatever it is.
But again, the most important factor is health, and If these guys can stay on the field, they're also on like probably the highest powered offense and on the ground, uncontested. If they could stay healthy and the Eagles are rolling, Eagles are going to have another great year. What do you think?
I think that it's a shame that the Giants play them twice in the last 3 weeks, because I feel like that's when they will have everything figured out. But if we were to catch these guys earlier in the year, I think we could beat them. Because remember how good the Giants were in the beginning of the season. A lot of teams kind of refrain from starting their actual starters in the preseason because obviously they don't want to get them hurt. But the Giants came out of the gate definitely as the worst talented team than Tennessee last year, and they beat them. They had Tannehill, they had Derrick Henry, they had everybody that they wanted to have out there. Their defense was totally healthy, so and then they beat Carolina. Obviously, Carolina wasn't good, but who was week 3? Was it the Cowboys? Cowboys, we lost that game. But then we beat the Packers, we beat the Jags, we beat the Bears. Like, we were good in the beginning of the season last year. I understand that those teams weren't as talented, but who are we playing week 1? Cowboys. All right. Let's talk about the BetStamp app. So,
let's get some win totals going.
Dude, I already am 0 for 5 today.
Who did you take?
All the favorites to cover against the worst teams in the league. And they all lost.
The Yankees kind of beat up on the Astros. I didn't expect that.
They won 3-1.
Yikes.
All right. The Mets. If we were to say one thing about baseball, it would be that I have to extend my condolences to every single Met fan out there. The first domino fell, and that domino's name was Justin Verlander. They traded him, and then they traded Max Scherzer, and then Max Scherzer was asked about, did they tell you about the future? And apparently the owner of the Mets told Scherzer that they are selling out all their assets this year, and they're not going to focus on winning any games next year, that they're going to focus on 2025. So obviously 2 38-year-old starting pitchers, no matter how good they are, aren't in the plans for 2025 season, so they started to offload. But where the Mets were last year at this time and what has happened to them this year, I feel so bad. I feel so bad for Mets fans, a team that is constantly in despair. And now they are where they are, where they're talking now about trading Alonso at the end of the season and probably Lindor too. They're totally resetting the entire franchise. I feel so bad. But with the BetStamp app, the Mets are in Baltimore at, you know what that park is called? Camden Yards, right?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And we went there one time. Beautiful stadium. Highly recommend.
Baltimore is, besides the violence, as of recently, that one time we went there, beautiful city.
Yeah. So Mets are in Baltimore, and they are a underdog pretty significantly, but the best line that I can get, because I'm looking at the BetStamp app, is plus 156 with Sport Track. If I went with BetMGM, it would have been plus 140. Borgata plus 140. That's if I want the Mets. But I'm on the Baltimore Orioles today. They are one of the best teams in the league. The best line that I can get is minus 163. When other books like Points Better all the way up at 180. If you're gonna bet on sports, use the BetStamp app to shop lines and figure out the best value for your pick. You're going to take that pick anyway. You might as well get the best line.
I agree wholeheartedly. Use the promo code CinqBoys.
Use it.
CINQ Boys.
Sign up for the BetStamp app. You can also shop player props, and you can track your bets between different sports books in the My Bets section. So you can not only use the BetStamp app to line shop, but you can also keep track of your bets and trends and all that other stuff. So sign up using CinqBoys code, and we're buzzing.
We are.
It's been the CinqBoys podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Also, go to mushroom.morningscoffee.com.
Shameless
Shop
plug.
for your mushroom infused coffee and mushroom supplements. It's good stuff. It's really good for your body. All the anxiety that coffee brings, the mushroom added into it, actually has a natural way of reducing anxiety and stress, supports recovery after workouts, helps memory. It's great. There's a ton of benefits. You should cop some mushroom mornings. All right, boys.
Do you like mushrooms, Joe?
I do not like them in my food, but when they are supplied as an extract and added to my coffee, I love it.
Fantastic. That's what I like to hear.
I love being healthy, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what life is about.
Yeah.
Live, laugh, love.
Tom Brady.
Fuck you.